All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Give the case and the pledge of allegiance to be led by Commissioner Page.
Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for this day and also for our beautiful county as we celebrate our county's birthday this week. Please guide our hearts and minds as we make our decisions today. Help us to work together and encourage each other to excellence. We ask this in the name of the Lord. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first order of business are approval of the minutes of the September 7th, 2023 meeting. If the minutes are approved.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Treasurer's report, approval of the bill, Treasurer Mifflin.
Good morning.
Morning.
The bills and payments presented to the Treasurer's office are as follows. We have accounts payable for the period with a total of $846,445.84. Payroll for the period totaled $357,282.99. Sorry, 99 cents. 911 account had 11 checks and 2 EFTs totaling $21,315.16, and 1 check from CDBG with the total of $85,000.
Okay. The motion to pay the bills.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Continue.
Treasurer's report for the period starting 9/6/2023 and ending 9/19/2023. We saw a general account starting balance of $2,912,854.86. Total debits of $471,721.10. An ending balance for general that was $2,180,847.13, and we have a capital reserve ending balance for the period of $20,001,013.07.
Okay, thank you. The motion to accept the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Meeting and events, Commissioner Poston.
I had already given a list to the chief clerk for inclusion in the minutes.
Commissioner Cody.
I provided my list to the chief clerk as well, and I'd like to welcome Carter Lane and Avery R. from MCTV here today. Thank you for filming for us.
I too provided a list. Public comment. Is there any public comment?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to note that there are two agencies or two committees that the county is represented on. One is the Consumer Advisory Board from JVBDS, and the other is the Cedar Natural Gas Co-op. We have vacancies on that, so if anybody is interested in mental health, early intervention, or intellectual disabilities, or the energy market, the regional energy market, they should contact the Commissioner's office for nominations to serve on those committees. Thank you.
Okay. Under new business, we have October 2023 is proclaimed as National Disability Employment Awareness Month. Commissioner Postal.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a proclamation for National Disability Employment Awareness Month, October 2023. Whereas the purpose of National Disability Employment Awareness Month is to educate about disability employment issues and celebrate the many and varied contributions of America's workers with disabilities. And whereas the history of National Disability Employment Awareness Month traces back to 1945, when Congress enacted a law declaring the first week in October each year as National Employed Physically Handicapped Week. And whereas in 1962, the word physically was removed to acknowledge the employment needs and contributions of individuals with all types of disabilities. And whereas in 1988, Congress expanded the week to a month and changed the name to National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And whereas the 2023 theme, quote, advancing access and equity, unquote, recognizes the importance of ensuring all people have equal opportunity to contribute their skills and talents. And whereas workplaces welcoming the talents of all people, including people with disabilities, are a critical part of our efforts to build an inclusive community and strong economy. And whereas activities during this month will reinforce the value and talent people with disabilities add to our workplaces and communities, and affirm that the Juniata Valley Behavioral and Developmental Services commitment to an inclusive community that increases access and opportunities for individuals with disabilities to live everyday lives. Now therefore be it resolved that the counties of Huntington, Mifflin, and Juniata, acting as the Juniata Valley Behavioral and Developmental Services, in recognition of the importance of the message that people with disabilities add value and talent to our workplaces and communities, do hereby proclaim October 2023 to be National Disability Employment Awareness Month in Huntington County, Mifflin County, and Juniata County, encouraging all citizens to support individuals with disabilities to pursue goals of opportunity, full participation, economic self-sufficiency, and independent everyday lives. In witness whereof we have hereunto subscribed our names, Huntington County Commissioners, Mifflin County Commissioners, and Juniata County Commissioners.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Kathy, you have the floor. Please state your name and title.
Kathy Whalen, Administrator, Juniata Valley Behavioral and Developmental Services. The work that's being done to include individuals in an everyday life as far as employment goes and that independence that comes with employment is done through the Huntington, Mifflin, and Juniata Employment Coalition. And that committee envisions a world where all people, able and differently abled, are fully included and participating members of their community and engaged. We have 42 employers in the 3 counties that have diversified their workforce for 62 employees. That has been a big change, and it continues to grow each and every year, the number of employers that accept and want to embrace the differently abled. We are celebrating all of our employers and employees at a celebration at the CSG Square One Clubhouse on Thursday, October 12th from 8:30 to 10 a.m. Our partners in that are PA Career Link, CARES of Central Pennsylvania, and the Bureau of Blind and Visual Services. They're offering both support for the celebration, but also as an employer who is employing people. Thank you.
Kathy, it would be good to have a list of those employers, I'm sure that will be available on 12. Right?
Yes, it will be. I don't have it with me.
All right, before you go, take a photo op. What do you say?
I know.
Move second.
Oh, okay.
This-
I can sit back down for a minute.
Yes.
Just for a minute.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we have Mifflin County Anniversary Week proclamation. Commissioner Page.
Thank you. Mifflin County Anniversary Week proclamation. Whereas inhabitants of the Juniata Valley, then in Cumberland County, petitioned the General Assembly in 1788 and earlier to form a new county. And whereas said inhabitants cited the great distance from the courts and offices of the county seat in Carlisle. And whereas Mifflin County was founded on September 19th, 1789 by an act of the General Assembly. And whereas Mifflin County is formed from parts of Cumberland and Northumberland counties. And whereas Mifflin County was named for Thomas Mifflin, Revolutionary War soldier, a signer of the U.S. Constitution, and first governor of Pennsylvania under that Constitution. Now therefore, we, the Mifflin County Commissioners, in celebration of Mifflin County's 234th anniversary, do hereby proclaim this week Mifflin County Week, We encourage all citizens to enjoy everything Mifflin County has to offer. Proclaim this 21st day of September, 2023, Mifflin County Commissioners, Sunderland, Postal, and Coach. I make a motion to approve this proclamation.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Nancy Arm, Mifflin County Historical Society, you have the floor.
Oh, okay, just give me a minute. As long as this isn't a race, I'm good. Probably take me longer to get up there and talk.
Well, I'd like to thank the commissioners and the rest of the county for recognizing our birthday and encourage everybody to do what you can to support the county and to investigate the history, not just the history of the county, but personal histories. Like, we all have a history. And that's part of the Historical Society's mission, is to make sure that everyone can preserve the past for the present and into the future, because that's what's going to move us forward. And again, I thank you for your efforts. I thank everybody for your support of the Historical Society, and I hope it continues into the future. Thank you. We started the week with Museum Week on this past Saturday, so which I hope everybody took advantage of going to the Hoover Store, which is a new acquisition for us, and for the McCoy House, which will be open we're open Sunday afternoons, so if anyone wants to go in there and look at the McCoy House. And our library for research is in the old courthouse, and I'm going to, I know, PSA here. And, our library is open from 10 to 3 on Tuesdays and Thursdays for research and by appointment. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Chair, one of the reasons for this proclamation, some people might think a little odd, like you're celebrating 234 years. But our county has a great history, and I wanted to have the work of the Historical Society highlighted, but you only think about these occasions like when you hit 100, 200, something like that. I don't think anything's been done to acknowledge the county's birthday since 200. So it's just nice once in a while to remind ourselves, everyone celebrates a birthday every year individually. It's nice once in a while to recognize our county's founding and also, like I said, highlight the work of the Historical Society, all the things they do for the community. Thank you.
And thank you. And it's nice to know too that we were part of another county at one time. I mean, you know, how the division went and just the whole history of how that came about. So I'd like to thank you for including that in there.
Yeah, we'd like to get a picture with you, please.
Oh, okay.
Let's do it out in the hall there.
Okay.
Dr. Romick is here.
My sign is still active.
All right, we're going to continue the meeting. We have resolution number 30 of 2023, the adoption of the regional municipal waste management plan for Mifflin County. Lisa Smith, Mifflin County Solid Waste Authority Director.
We finished up the work on the 10-year regional county plan on behalf of Mifflin and Juniata County per our delegation agreement with the county to do the work. And it is in complete form, and we're offering it for adoption to the commissioners. Would you like me to explain anything else?
No, Lisa, the Juniata County needs to do this too.
They did it last
They
week,
did, okay.
yes. And then the entire plan will be available if you'd like to put it on your website for accessibility. And it'll be available PDF on ours, and it'll be submitted to the state for final approval. Did you see your letter, certified letter that came from DEP about it being in the 30-day final review?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Motion approved.
So moved.
Thank you very much.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Here's your agreement.
Oh, thank you so much.
Frank, you want to say?
No.
Okay, we have the sub-recipient agreement with the Mifflin County Municipal Authority for $1 million loan for expansion of public water services for unserved and underserved areas within Mifflin County. Mr. Bob. Municipal Authority Director, would you like to say anything?
Sure. I didn't plan to come and talk, but I can wing it with the best of them. So we evaluated the offer. We met several times with the commissioners, and the board last month approved the subrecipient agreement for the $1 million loan, 0% loan. The project originally that we had submitted to use these funds for was to expand water service out Airport Road to the Mifflin County Airport. The Mifflin County Airport Authority board member Scott Page from Brown Township and I met with the Airport Authority last Monday. They had extremely positive things to say, and they support the project fully. We kind of came up with a plan of how to get that water to their site. We evaluated their existing infrastructure. We think we can serve with minimal disruption to the airport utilizing their existing infrastructure. They were in agreement to serve all the facilities that they currently serve with their wells, which are not viable anymore. So it'll be a good project. It'll be a project that we're going to use our own forced labor with. Our crew has decided that that's a good project for them to do. So that'll enable us to save a considerable amount of money. Rather than going out to bid for this, we use our in-house forces. That should free up a little bit more money, and I appreciate the fact that you didn't limit the expenditure to just one particular project. We do have some other underserved and unserved. I like the way that was worded in the agreement, so that we could, whatever balance might be left from that $1 million, we can use for another similar project in the county. So appreciate the offer and look forward to working with you. I guess we'll figure out the terms of everything after today. We can sit down and just evaluate a little bit more.
Any questions?
Yeah, I just want to point out, Mr. Chairman, this is for 10 years, and as Mr. Buck had said, it's a 0% interest. It's being financed through what we consider the county's improvement fund that was originally funded through the ARPA funds. This money then is going to be repaid over, again, the 10-year period. That will finance other projects over this period. So some municipalities have decided not to participate in this, but this is a program that is going to go on far into the future, using this money again and again as it's repaid over the years for other needs. So thank you very much for collaborating with us. It really is an example of collaboration.
Yep. We appreciate the offer.
Thank you.
Craig, can you give us a couple examples of other areas you're looking at to improve?
So areas that we know we have some need for, and we'll have to look. Certain areas have talked to us about the potential for expansion, and we have current water service in the general area, but they're not fully completed. There's an area in Brown Township, Fawn Road. We have high volume transmission mains that run right through there, and that area does not have public water access. There's a corner of Yagertown, believe it or not, that does not have public water access, and we just sent surveys out to the 19 residents that are not currently served, and we started getting some responses back to that survey, some favorable, some not favorable, so we're gonna wait to see that. And then there's areas in Granville Township, going up Middle Road. We're also looking at the potential, because there's certain, talk about collaboration, since we've become a countywide authority, we've taken ownership and operation of the Hostone water system from Granville Township. We're currently in the process, in fact, we just got notified that the DEP has accepted our public water supply permit for El Cesar's Trailer Court up on 333 near Tower Hill Road. We're going to be utilizing CDBG funds that Granville Township got for sewer and also water. They're going to be constructing those facilities, and then once they're constructed by the grant, then we'll take over the operation and maintenance of that system. So there's considerable areas going 103 outside of Lewistown, if you're familiar, towards Angelo's. You know, we could serve those areas as well. So there's a lot of little pockets of the county like that, you know, have a little bit of concentrated orange juice, if you will, of population centers that aren't going to require long stretches of transmission mains to actually get access to them. So there's just a couple of the ideas that we have. There's an area that we've talked about for years and years, out Siglerville and little village of Dogtown, if you will. We're close to there. So, you know, those are areas too that we could potentially expand into. So back when I was, if I can go back just a minute, back when I was promoted to executive director back in 2004, our longtime chairman, Rocco Socio, if you remember him, he said to me in the interview, he said, you know, our goal, my goal is to at some point put public water in every house in Mifflin County. Well, I was a little ambitious in that's considerable amount of resources and whatnot to do that. But we did have a comprehensive plan back in the day that we have expanded into a lot of those areas, Maitland, Glenwood area, we're all the way down to the Decatur Township line. So we have fulfilled some of those goals, but, you know, we're a long way from being there. So.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
A motion to approve the agreement.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Intermediate punishment program grant agreements for the period July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. Wright County Government Alcohol Abuse Commission is $2,520. Send Clear Counseling is $28,020. Writer Visions Counseling is $29,340. Chief Probation Officer Nichols.
Yes, so this is an agreement with our treatment providers to provide contracted services through our intermediate punishment grant. This is to provide the latest evidence-based practices in an effort to reduce recidivism going forward with the program.
Questions?
We have the program now, does it continue or?
Yes, it's continuing the program. This is the last step program prior to going to state prison. So.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thanks, Dan. We have a sub-grantee agreement with Blue Juniata Grant LLC of Lewistown, PA. Human Services Director Allison.
Yes, I'm asking for this sub-agreement because typically we do a needs assessment every 10 years with the census. It drives all of the efforts in our department, quite frankly, so that we're making decisions based on data and not perception. But with the pandemic, those census results release was delayed. And quite frankly, now I feel like I'm in a time crunch to get that done before the end of the year. And with the workload in our department, I just don't have the time. So Kristen was actually employed with my department many years ago when we did the last one. So she's the perfect candidate to help me out and get this accomplished before the end of the year. So I'd like to have that approved. I have the grant funds to do it. So I'd like to have that agreement approved.
Yeah, I see it terminates November 10th. It's not gonna get done by then, is it?
Well, we had to push back getting this on the agenda a little while. So if we need to amend that, we will. But I do think if she gets on the writing pretty quickly, it's honestly just a matter of pulling all the new data and putting it into the old document. I trust Kristen to work pretty quickly, but if I need to amend it, I'll come back to you.
Move a motion to approve.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. We have the assurance of compliance for the 2023-2024 Human Services Plan.
Yes, and I'll just note that Kathy Whalen stayed because JDBDS is also represented in that as well as the SCA. This is our yearly submission of the Human Service Block Grant Plan. You're just signing that you assure that we will comply with the terms of that grant.
Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have agreement with Union Valley Tri-County Drug and Alcohol Use Commission of Lewistown, PA, for coordination of services for the period September 30th, 2023 through September 29th, 2024, in the amount of $38,761. Allison?
Yes, this is a continuation of the housing program that we worked with Tri-County Drug and Alcohol Commission on, providing services for their folks on case management who are encountering housing issues that threaten their sobriety. And so we provide the housing case management for that program, and that's what this agreement is for, is to continue that.
So this assumes that there's going to be 8 clients.
That's how many slots, yeah. It varies, honestly, Commissioner, just because it depends on how much each client might need out of it. If one doesn't need it quite as much financial assistance, then that opens more money for someone else. But we average 8.
Okay, that doesn't mean necessarily then 8 individuals.
Correct.
It means 8 units.
Slots,
Slots, 8 slots.
That's how we see it, yes.
Okay, motion to approve.
Vote.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Motion carries. Memorandum of Understanding with Lewistown Borough for Landlord Assistance website. Allison?
Yeah, this is a partnership I'm very excited about. It's new. I've been attending the Borough Property Standards Committee for a while now, just because a lot of our landlords that we work with overflow with theirs, and it was good for communication. But those meetings, we really identified the need for more resources for the landlords in our community, and so through my work, there's some other communities that have such a website, and it's very helpful in terms of being able to have forms and documents that landlords need readily accessible by website. We also envision in the future being able to have some trainings that we currently do housed up there, so that reduces some staff time as well. Again, we're modeling it after what some other communities have already done that's working. And so this is again, we have grant funds to pay for the website to be developed, and then the borough, if it works, will maintain it after that. This agreement allows us to proceed with that.
Allison, is this just for landlords in the borough, or is this for landlords anywhere?
So right now, it will just be for the borough, the landlords in the borough.
Because the documentation is specific to the borough.
Correct. So this, we're really looking at this as a pilot, Commissioner, so that we see if it works, then we are building it so that it could be expanded to landlords anywhere in the county. But at this time, it will be for the borough.
Okay, any other questions? Comments?
I guess it's always great when we come to some kind of agreement with our friends from Lewistown Borough.
Isn't it? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have project modification request for vote to grant reducing salary expenses and increasing supplies.
I'm representing this because Jamie wasn't able to be here today, so I may defer any questions you have to her, but there are some changes being asked for in her agreement in order to reduce some expenses, and because there just wasn't the need for that, and so they're going to use those dollars then to increase supplies. So the overall amount is changing, it looks like by $11,116.
Okay, motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
That's my
Thank you. Conflict Counsel Public Defender Services Agreement with Robert Ferguson Esquire, McCord, PA, period January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, the amount of $3,333.33 per month.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Application for County Aid 2023 allocation, Alden Township, $3,175 for motion approved.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Act 13, Open Space Program, Planning Director James Letier.
Good morning, Commissioners. We're requesting your consideration and approval for the release of Act 13 Marcellus Shale Legacy funding from the county's active account in the amount of $70,000 municipalities and legal nonprofit entities to apply for these as grant funds. Additionally, we're also requesting your approval to amend the application and the newly revised grant program guidelines that we prepared. Commissioners received early allocations from the Pennsylvania Public Utilities Commission for unconventional gas well fees, which are commonly referred to as impact fees. Mifflin County, of course, does not have any operating wells, but they received yearly allocations, and the impact fee purpose was to address any adverse impacts as a result of the drilling and operating wells regarding traffic flow, road deterioration, and so forth. On average, the county receives a yearly distribution of $40,221. Last year, the commission had opened the act. Funding was in 2019. Just briefly, the legislation that created this was passed in February of 2012, and its purpose is to use the funds for the planning, acquisition, development, rehabilitation, and repair of greenways, recreational trails, open space, natural areas, community conservation and beautification projects, heritage parks, and water resource management. Based on, pursuant to your approval, the application will open today, and applications are due on Thursday, November 30th. I think we gave enough time for applicants to prepare a good application. New this year are a couple things. We're going to hold 2 brief Zoom meetings to provide a little educational opportunity to explain the application, what we're needing, documentation or require, and that'll be held on October 13th at 2 different times, one at 12:30 and one at 6 p.m. We also have an objective scoring system that is in the guidelines, will be used to rank each application. We've set a minimum request of $5,000 and a maximum request of $20,000. Our office will rank each proposal and bring these to the Planning Commission for recommendation to the County Commissioners for final action, which will be on January 4th of next year. Additional provision we've added also, the successful awardees will have 1 year to enter into a contract, and then after the contract signed, we'll have 1 year to get the project complete. This way, we have a timeline where when they need to spend the money. It seems to be work better that way than having it open-ended and take 2 or 3 years to get a project done. So, with that, if there are any questions, I'll be happy to address those.
To work with our MIS crew to get this on the website.
I will, after your approval today, I have it on my list to do.
Okay, the motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. We have a cooperation agreement with Lewistown Borough for the Valley Street demolition project in the amount of $12,703.52. CDB Administrator Kevin Paul.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So this particular cooperation agreement is for the demolition costs, the remaining demolition costs for the property that was located at the corner of Valley and 3rd Street. That has been torn down. In fact, PennDOT is now using it as kind of a staging site for the Valley Street repairs. The project actually initially was awarded a $300,000 grant from DCED that was prepared by DLI for the borough, but they required a 10% match. Lewistown Borough had agreed to put in $15,000, and the commissioners previously agreed to put in $15,000 as well. The project came in under budget at a total of $227,772.04. The grant was able to cover everything but the engineering. So the Lewistown Borough is requesting half of the engineering costs in the amount of $12,703.52. That amount was previously approved contingent upon the receiving this cooperation agreement. So Lewistown Borough passed this cooperation agreement at last week's meeting, so I'm asking for your approval of the agreement today.
Any questions? Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have an application agreement for the Act 152 demolition program for Lewistown VFW project. Amount $22,715.63. CDB Administrator Chastity.
This particular project is located on Chestnut Street. The original VFW post had been damaged in a fire and was demolished. These are the properties that were located next to that building. They were donated to the VFW and they need to be torn down. They have met our blighted conditions. The original estimates total $45,431.25. The VFW is requesting half of that at $22,715.63. They have also approved their cooperation agreement with this as well. One of the things that may help actually reduce the cost of this program, Valley Street project, Paul Baker's needed some more room to bring in fill.
We're filling it now.
They are, yes, they actually come in, and so that was originally part of this estimate to bring in the fill to fill in the basement of that property. So the project could come in potentially a little bit less than this, but we're asking for the approval for this particular now.
And you're working with the borough's zoning officers?
Yes, they went ahead and they did condemn the buildings to meet our program requirements of having the property condemned.
Can you give us a brief history of this chastity, so
Yes.
people understand when it started and what we've done so far?
So this program was actually established, I believe it was in 2018. 2019 was the first time that we actually utilized these funds. So for every mortgage that is recorded at the Register and Recorder's Office, we collect a fee that is allotted by the General Assembly to go into our Act 152 demolition for remediation of blight program. Through the years since, we have done a total of 9 projects. 4 of them are within the Lewistown Borough, that is including these 2 I have before you today. We've had 3 projects in Granville Township, 1 in Derry Township, and 1 in Burnham Borough. Including these today, we have $103,633.15 from our Act 152 funds that are a contribution towards overall total costs of over $500,000 that the various municipalities and a couple of nonprofits are putting into demolition just to try to help clean up the county and remove the blight in the area.
I just point out, Mr. Chairman, even though Lewistown and Granville Township have been using this program since its beginning, we invite any municipality or nonprofit to call the planning office and participate in this blight remediation. There is money in that account.
Okay. Motion to approve.
So move.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a memorandum of understanding between Mifflin County and Mifflin County Housing Authority and City Council of Governments for the Department of Housing and Urban Development funded housing projects. A motion to approve.
So move. Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. We have purchased a service agreement for use if needed by children and youth administrator in Courthouse.
The first one is for Clearfield County Children and Youth Services. They have their own foster homes, which we are contracting with, and they provide dependent delinquent youth with access to behavioral health treatment. Their lowest rate is $15 per day, and their highest rate is $45 per day. And then the other provider is Diacon Child, Family, and Community Ministries. They also provide dependent delinquent youth with access to behavioral health treatment through foster care. Their lowest rate is $46 per day, and their highest rate is $94.63 per day.
Just a quick question, so Clearfield County actually owns these homes?
I'm not sure, so they manage them.
Okay.
So the difference in, you can see the difference in cost. That is because it's their foster home, they don't do the administrative part. We had to do that, but it was just specifically for one child who was transferred from Clearfield County custody to our custody, but it was best for that child to stay in that home. So we don't plan to utilize Clearfield County CYS for any further foster homes. It was just for that one particular child.
I am looking at the rate, and it's very low, so I thought that this may be an opportunity for you to utilize those homes if we need to.
Well, but the reason it's so low is because then we have to do the other work to manage the paperwork and things that the state requires for the foster home.
Thank you.
Motion approved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Under personnel, we have the resignation of Michael Moyle from part-time sheriff deputy effective August 31st, 2023. Resignation of Jay Borman from part-time corrections officer effective September 8th, 2023. Hiring of Adam Yoder and Lawrence Beast for part-time corrections officer effective September 18th, 2023. The hiring of No Monestos for part-time corrections officer effective September 25th, 2023. Hiring of Abigail Yoder for children and youth caseworker effective September 25th, 2023. The retirement of Doug Marks from housing rehabilitation specialist effective November 3rd, 2023. The motion to approve the personnel item.
So moved.
Second, Mr. Chairman, I'd also like to acknowledge Doug Marks, who's been with us for a long, long time, pretty long tooth here. And Doug, if you want to say anything, you're welcome to have the floor, but I want to acknowledge you for your many years, over 30 years, I believe.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner, Board of Commissioners. I wasn't prepared to say anything, so, but anyway, I just wanted to thank you for the time. I started here April 5th of 1993, which was shortly after the blizzard of 93, so that tells you how long ago that was. So about 30 and a half years of service, and it's been a pleasure working for the county over the years. We've invested in a lot of different projects, through the Community Development Block Grant Program, through our countywide housing programs. I've repaired a lot of homes, or helped to repair a lot of homes in the county. And it's kind of a bittersweet time, but it's time for me to move on and venture into other things and let somebody else step up and continue on with the progression of the projects and stuff. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you. We have a motion in a second. All those in favor of the personnel item?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, no further business, we stand adjourned.